morning. Today we are going to discuss prepositions. What is a preposition and why we have to use a preposition? How to use one? That is what we are going to discuss today. So the first question, preposition. So what is preposition? Preposition. What is pre? What is position? Pre means before. Position. Whose position? Before me or you? Before whom we have to place this? A word which is placed before a noun or a pronoun. A word which is placed before a noun or a pronoun is called preposition. But why to place a word before a noun or a pronoun? Why to place a word before noun or a pronoun? Why? The preposition is a word. Pre means before. Position. Whose position? A noun or a pronoun. But my question here is, why to place a preposition before a noun or a pronoun? Why? Because to show a relation. To show a relation. Whenever we talk about relation, the next question is between. Relation between a noun and a noun, a verb and a noun, and an adjective and a noun. Remember, preposition is always placed before a noun. Here, noun in the sense it can also be a pronoun. It can be a pronoun. So, preposition is a word which is always placed before a noun or a pronoun. Why? To show relation. To show a relationship or to show relation between whom? Noun and a noun, verb and a noun, and an adjective and a noun. So, that is what preposition. I hope it is clear. So, a word which is placed before a noun and a noun, verb and a noun, an adjective and a noun to show relation is called a preposition. So that is what preposition means. Now look at this. Preposition shows relation or connection. That is what we have learnt. But what happens if we do not use preposition? Can't we make a sentence without preposition? Maybe we can, but if we use preposition, it gives what? If we do not use preposition when it's required, what happens? Look at this sentence. The cat sat a mat. Is it giving any sense? The cat sat a mat. That means the cat made the mat to sit. It's not giving sense. Hence, what do we require? A preposition to show relation. The cat sat on a mat. Here, we are showing relationship between sat and mat. That is verb and a noun. See what happens when there is no preposition? The meaning of the sentence is lost. Hence, we require to use preposition whenever it is required to show relation. Now, where can we use preposition? Where a preposition can come at in the sentence? In a sentence, where can we use a preposition? In the beginning or middle or at the end? Means it can be used in three places. At the beginning of the sentence, in the middle of the sentence, or at the end of the sentence. So preposition can come in three places. In the beginning of the sentence, in the middle of the sentence, and also at the end of the sentence. So do remember, so place of the prepositions or not fixed. It's not always in the beginning, it's not always at the end or in the middle. It's not fixed. So in the interrogative and imperative sentences, especially in interrogative and imperative sentences, prepositions come at the end of the sentence generally. It's not compulsory, however, it is generally. In interrogative and imperative sentences, prepositions come at the end of the sentence. Now, Let's see some examples for that. Some prepositions are used at the beginning of the sentence. For example, for whom do you wait here every day? In which scheme you benefited more? So here for, in are used at the beginning of the sentence. Now let us see for in the middle of the sentence. He sat under the tree. We used it in the middle. He is in the house. Again in the middle. Now let us see some examples for at the end of the sentence. Where are you coming from? What are you looking at? What are you talking about? What are you searching for? Here in these sentences, we use prepositions at the end of the sentence. Do remember. So they can act as objects of the sentence, or sometimes they can be used after the object also. So generally prepositions are used before the objects, but they can also used after the objects, that means at the end of the sentence. So that's about the place of prepositions. So preposition is a word which is placed before a noun or a pronoun to show relationship between a noun and a noun, a verb and a noun, an adjective and a noun. So coming to the place of preposition, in a sentence a preposition can come in three places. 1, the beginning, 2, in the middle, 3, at the end. So it can come at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end, as we have seen some examples. Now look at these examples. Fill this first sentence. Answer to the first question. Mr. Sunil walked dash the room. Here I have given you options. Into, in, across, inside, in front of. Quick. Try to answer this question. Mr. Sunil walked dash the room. Quick. Choose your answers from the given options. Quick, guys. Quick. Swapna, Sunny, Nirmal. Anyone? Okay, inside. In. Okay. What about you, Akash? Mr. Sunil walked dash the room. Okay, let's see the first one. Mr. Sunil walked. Can we say into the room? Can we say into the room? Yes or no? Mr. Sunil walked into the room. Can we say or not? Can we say Mr. Sunil walked into the room? Okay, Akash said into. Yes, we can say, because when a person is walking from outside to inside of the room, if a person is walking outside to the inside of the room, we can say Mr. Sunil walked into the room. Obviously, into is correct. Can we say Mr. Sunil walked in the room? So this is a room. Can I walk in the room? Yes or no? We can walk in the room. So that is also correct. Can we say Mr. Sunil walked across the room? What is across? Across means one end to the other end. So if you consider this as room, walking across the room is nothing but from one end of the room to the other end, from one side to the other side of the room. Can it be possible? Obviously, it can be. Mr. Sunil walked inside the room. Obviously, inside the room we can walk. That is also correct. Mr. Sunil walked in front of the room. So if you see this person, he is not walking in the room or inside the room, he is walking in front of the room. Can it be happen? Obviously, that means all are correct only. Here all are correct only. It can be walk, into, in, across, inside, or in front of. All five are correct only. Now look at this sentence. The bird is dash tree in on. Answer this one. The bird is dash tree in or on. Quick. Okay. What about Akash? What's your answer? So Swapna chose in, Sunny chose on. What about Akash? If you consider this as tree, okay, Akash said in. Why in, Akash? Why do you think it is in? Why not on? So all answered on. Why do you think in? See, I told the bird is dash tree. On the tree, okay, Swapna is on again, okay, but why? So on the tree means only here. The bird lives on the tree only. Can't it live here? Can't it be here, here, or here? Yes or no? So it can be possible to stay here, live here, or on. Is it clear? That means it is not always on the tree. It can also be in the tree also. In fact, it can live inside the tree. For example, woodpecker. Right? That means again both are correct. In and on. Both are correct. Now look at this one. The train reached the station dash time. In time or on time? Answer this one. In time or on time? The train reached the station dash time. Is it in time or on time? Quick guys. Both. You got the answer. See, it can be both because in time means 1 or 2 minutes here and there. On time means exact time. So with this you might have understood the concept that prepositions are very difficult to choose unless you know the situation. Yes. So if you understand the concept, it will become easy. Otherwise, it will be always confusing. Prepositions is always confusing concept unless you understand it clearly. So do remember the basic problem about prepositions is that we fail to use an appropriate preposition in the sentence because all may be appropriate, all may be inappropriate. It depends upon the situation. It can be in the tree, on the tree, inside the tree also. It can be in time or on time. It can be anything. It depends upon the situation. So do remember, do not ever translate prepositions word. Let me give you this exercise again. Do not ever translate prepositions word dash word into your mother tongue. Do not translate prepositions word dash word into your mother tongue. So fill that. Take any preposition. What do you think can fit that? Blank. Do not translate prepositions word dash word. Word dash word. Quick. Do not translate prepositions word dash word into your mother tongue. So what do you think is an appropriate preposition here? So I didn't give you any option, so you can put any preposition. Okay, Sunny told word by. Okay, good. What about the others? Quick, guys. Do not translate prepositions word dash word. Word to word. Swapna answered word to word. Okay, good. What about Nirmal? Akash? Word to word. Any other prepositions do you think may fill the blank? Any other prepositions? So many feel it word with word, word by word to word. But let me tell you, all these are wrong. The correct one is word for word. See, that is what I told you. Do not ever translate prepositions word for word into mother tongue because it may lead you wrong to the wrong answer. It may lead you to wrong answer because the sense of preposition in English is different from the sense of the same preposition what you translate into your mother tongue. So do not ever translate word for word into mother tongue. So do remember, for simple example, so try to fill this one. The baby is sleeping dash the bed. The baby is sleeping dash the bed. So quickly, do fast. Answer this, fill this one. The baby is sleeping dash the bed. Fast. Quick guys. The baby is sleeping dash the bed. Okay. So what about you? Okay, over the bed. Okay. So you answered on and over where both are incorrect. The correct one is in the bed. Do not, no, do not translate the preposition. The correct usage is in the bed, not on the bed. But if you translate into your mother tongue, you feel that on the bed is appropriate, but no. No, it's not on the bed. It's never on the bed. So it should be in the bed. So do remember, do not translate prepositions word for word into your mother tongue. Otherwise, you will go wrong. I hope I made it clear, guys. So let's see the next one. Now let us see the position of prepositions. As I already told you, prepositions are used to show relationship between a noun and a noun, a verb and a noun, an adjective and a noun. Let us see how they are going to show a relationship. First, let us see the relationship between a noun and a noun, the two nouns. Look at these examples. There is a farmer in the field. A farmer, the field. Noun and a noun. There is a spider on the wall. A spider on the wall. Again here, noun and a noun. So prepositions are denoting relationship between two nouns here. On the wall. In the field. Now, look at this one. Preposition may express the relationship between a verb and a noun. It shows the relationship between a verb and a noun. For example, the hunter aimed at the animal. Aimed is a verb, animal is a noun. So, preposition at is placed between verb and a noun. My mother went to market yesterday. Went is a verb. Market is a noun. So place it between two verbs and a noun. So two nouns, verb and a noun. Now let us see examples for adjective and a noun also. Look at this one. My friend is fond of ice cream. Fond, adjective. Ice cream, noun. Of is a preposition. Remember, fond is always followed by of. A.R. Rahman is good at music. Good is adjective, music is a noun. So we placed preposition at in between adjective and a noun to show relation. Good music. Good music. Good what? Good at music. It shows the relationship between an adjective and a noun. So as we discussed, place of preposition, position of preposition. Place can be at the beginning, in the middle, at the end. Position between two nouns or a verb and a noun or an adjective and a noun. So just keep these things in mind. Now let's move on to the next one. Kinds of prepositions. Prepositions, there are many, right? 200 plus. So these prepositions are classified into 5 types. There are 5 types of prepositions. They are 1. Simple preposition. 2. Compound preposition, which we can also call complex preposition. 3. Double preposition. 4. Phrasal preposition. 5. Participle prepositions. So these are the 5 types of prepositions. So let us see one by one. The first one, simple prepositions. What are simple prepositions? As the name indicate, simple prepositions are the prepositions which are used in a sentence. But why they are called simple prepositions? Means the prepositions which are simple in its structure. The prepositions which are simple in their structure. What is the simplicity? One word. Yes. All one word prepositions are called simple prepositions like in, on, at, for, from, since, by, down, under, above, over, with. All these come under simple prepositions. So remember, simple prepositions are nothing but all one word prepositions which are simple in their structure. For example, I get up at 5 o'clock every day. The pen is on the table. Ravi came to office by car. She is suffering from fever. At, on, by, from. So these are examples of simple prepositions. So do remember, simple prepositions, simple in their structure. They are one word prepositions. So this is for your information. However, usage is what you have to focus on. So now let's see the second one, compound or complex prepositions. So what are compound or complex prepositions? Compound means what? We discussed compound nouns, compound sentences. So what is compound? Compound means combination of, right? So compound prepositions are the prepositions which are formed by the combination of two words either by prefixing or suffixing, but it is considered as a single unit. It is considered as a single preposition, but it is formed either by prefixing or suffixing. For example, look at these examples. So about, a plus about, across, a cross, upon, up, on, above, along, among, beneath, beyond, before, behind, beside, besides, between, inside, without, into, within, into. So all these are formed by the combination of two words but written as a single unit and act as a single preposition. So do remember, compound prepositions are written as single unit without any gap. It is considered as a single preposition, as a single word. So compound prepositions, do remember. So they are formed either by prefixing or suffixing, either by adding as a prefix or adding as a suffix to another word, and these prepositions are written as a single unit. I'm emphasizing because we are going to discuss something different apart from this. Now look at these examples. He cannot live without his phone. Not only he, everyone became the same. He cannot live without phone. She went into the room. She stayed up at the stars above. So these are a few examples of compound prepositions. Simple preposition, simple in structure, one word. Compound prepositions, combination of two words but written as a single unit. So that is the difference between simple and compound prepositions. Now let's see the third one, complex prepositions. What? Complex. Complex is also a compound. So do not confuse compound compound prepositions and complex prepositions are same. Coming to the third one, double prepositions. What is double preposition? Double means two. Compound also two. Then what is the difference between double prepositions and compound prepositions? Means, as I told you, compound prepositions are used and written as a single unit. They are used as well as written as a single unit. There is no gap. It is not considered as two prepositions. However, double prepositions are formed by the combination of two words written separately but act as a single preposition. You cannot give meaning with one word or this word. Together it gives a complete sense. So do remember, double prepositions are formed by the combination of two words but act as a single unit. Look at these examples. Out of, along with, together with, in between, from beside, from behind, from among, from under, from within, etc. are double prepositions. For example, he came out of office. Can you say he came out of office? He came off office? No. It doesn't give sense. It doesn't give sense if you use only one word out of these two. So you require to use two words here in order to make a complete sense of the preposition. He came out of office. I hope it is clear. Look at this one. The sun came from behind the clouds. So we are talking about where it came from. The sun came from the clouds. No. The sun came from behind the clouds. He came here together with his parents. Together his parents? No, together with his parents. So two words together act as a single preposition but written separately as two units are double prepositions. So compound prepositions, two units formed either by prefixing or suffixing written as a single word. Double prepositions, two units written separately but act as a single preposition with a single meaning. So that is the difference between compound and double prepositions. Now let's see the fourth one, phrasal prepositions. What are phrasal prepositions? What can be phrase? What is a phrase? Phrase is nothing but a group of words. So a group of words, like two or more than two in fact, act as a single preposition is called phrasal preposition. For example, in view of, in front of, according to, as for, depending on, by means of, for the sake of, in addition to, on account of, instead of, in spite of, with reference to, owing to, because of, in order to, on behalf of, etc. are phrasal prepositions. So a group of words act as a single preposition is called phrasal preposition. For example, according to me, one should love one's country. We will play cricket tomorrow depending on the time. You can park your car in front of my house. In view of holidays, let us plan a picnic. So according to, depending on, in front of, in view of. So all these are phrases. A group of words act as single preposition is called phrasal prepositions. And remember, phrasal prepositions generally are placed at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. They are generally placed at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. I hope it is clear about phrasal prepositions. Now let's see the fifth one, the last one, participle prepositions. What are participles? We have discussed before. So in the first session, basic session, I discussed participle adjectives. So what are participles? V3 past participle and V4 present participle. V3 and V4 ending with ed and ing act as prepositions. If V3 and V4, V3 is called past participle and V4 is called present participle. So these participles V3 and V4 act as prepositions called participle prepositions. Yes. So they do not generally act as verbs, but they can act as more than verbs. We have seen participle adjectives where they act as adjectives, but now these are also acting as prepositions, hence they are called participle prepositions. For examples, look at these: assuming, barring, including, following, considering, during, given, notwithstanding is a single word. Do not cut it, notwithstanding. No, it's a single word. Notwithstanding, provided, regarding, respected, etc. or participle prepositions. How they act as prepositions in a sentence? Let's see some examples. Here we go. Considering you have experience, you are selected for this post. That means we selected you for this post. Why? Considering you have experience. We are going to visit you during holidays. Given that the profit margin is high on derivatives trading, Brenston's estimate seem to be somewhat on the mark. Given that she went on doing her work notwithstanding the calls she received from her house. So what is meant by notwithstanding? What is the meaning of notwithstanding? Notwithstanding is nothing but in spite of. Notwithstanding is nothing but in spite of. There is nothing more. So in spite of, nevertheless, you can take. Now, assuming the talks start, they may still go nowhere. So assuming, ing, notwithstanding, ing, during, considering. So here V4 acting as preposition. Given, V3 past participle acting as prepositions. So if V3 and V4 past participle and present participle act as prepositions, they are called participle prepositions. I hope it is clear, guys. So far we have discussed what is preposition, place of prepositions, position of prepositions, how to use the prepositions and kinds of prepositions. If you have any doubts so far, do let me know before going further, because we are going to see the usage. In usage, you have to concentrate better in order to answer and understand better, because usage is something which you are going to get in your examinations, which you are going to face in your examinations. So before beginning usage, let me know if you got any doubts so far in whatever the things we have discussed so far. What is preposition? The place of preposition, the position of preposition. What if we do not use preposition in a sentence, and no translation. Word for word, not word to word. And we also seen kinds of prepositions. So far we have discussed these things. If you have any doubts in any of these, let me know so that we can discuss them before going to the usage. I hope there are no questions or doubts as there is no text from you. So good, no doubt, fine, Nirmal. So let's move on to the usage. See, let me share an example with you before actually talking about the usage. In fact, I'll go with two examples. So let's see how the preposition is used and the better way of learning the uses of prepositions. For example, here I have taken two words on and upon. Those are confusing, right? What is on? What is upon? When do we use on? When do we use upon? Anyone? What is on? When do we use it? What does it indicate? What does it sense? Quick. What is on? What do you think on is? You don't need to give me dictionary definitions or textbook definitions. You can tell what you have, understood or what you know. Okay. Let me tell you. On generally indicate the contact between the surfaces of two. There is a book on the table. There is a pen on the table. Means it talks about the contact between the surfaces of those two objects, a book and a table, a pen and a table. So generally talk about the contact between the surfaces of two. So contact will be there. That is on. But do not take it granted just for contact because it gives more sense. It doesn't give only contact, it gives more sense, more other meanings than just contact. And what is the difference between on and upon? On means okay contact, upon means up to contact. No, it doesn't mean that. So on generally indicate contact without any movement or motion, whereas upon is used to indicate motion. When there is movement or motion involved, what you have to use is upon, and there is no movement of the object generally speaking, then you have to use on. But remember, on gives more other meanings. So look at these examples. The cat jumped upon the rat. There is a movement. The cat jumped upon the rat. Movement is there. So upon. He is on his way to the office. It doesn't mean that he's stuck there. On his way is a phrase which means traveling. My bike runs on petrol. Pour petrol, run the bike? No, not so. My bike runs on petrol. That means my bike consumes petrol to work. There is a book on the table. Here it is indicating contact. So just take these two sentences to understand better what is the difference between on and upon. There is a book on the table. You cannot say upon the table because there is no movement. The cat jumped not on the rat, it is upon the rat because there is a movement. So other than that also on is used in different cases with different sense. In phrases like on his way or on the way to indicate traveling, the journey, or runs on. Here run on means consumes petrol, takes petrol to work. So do remember, if you learn, okay, for learning the difference, it is okay. But learning the uses by taking one preposition, it is not always comfortable. For example, let me give you one more example with in. When do we use in? What are the uses of in? So in doesn't always give the meaning of inside. We are in the classroom. It doesn't mean that inside the classroom always. Inside the classroom, that is okay. We are in the classroom. But we are in India doesn't mean inside India. right, in a country. So let's see what is the usage of in. So it expresses a situation of being enclosed or surrounded by something in the room. It also expresses state, condition and quality. State means not the state, it is a state of being, not the states like Telangana, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, not that states. I'm talking about the state of being, the condition. It expresses inclusion or involvement. It tells someone's occupation or profession, and it also expresses arrival. See, the one preposition in have different usages, right? Look at these examples. He is in the house, inside the house. My friend lives in Vijayawada, talking about the city. The train is in time, expresses arrival. She is in her childhood when the accident take place. The state. He is in army for many years. Occupation. In army doesn't mean inside the army. He worked there. That means his occupation as a soldier. Now, he is in her childhood, not inside the childhood. The state of being, the condition in her childhood when that accident happened. I hope it is clear. See, I know it is not that clear or not that easy to understand the uses of one preposition under different conditions and situations. So to make it easy, to make it fun learning, I'm bringing different concept, that is we consider usage. That means let us take the usage according to the situation, and in that situation what are the prepositions we use and the usage in that situation. So we are not going with just taking one preposition and listing out its uses is always uncomfortable to learn because easily forgotten. So it is easily forgotten and it's not so easy to remember well. Hence, to remember well and to understand it better, what we generally do now is, what we are going to do now is, we'll take the situation, the context, and what are the prepositions we use in that situation and their individual usage. So that would help you better to remember as well as to understand. Now let's begin that usage. So we have different types of usages like prepositions of time, prepositions of place, prepositions of manners, prepositions of agent, instrument, many other prepositions are there. Hence, what do we do now is, let's see the first one, that is prepositions of time. So we are going to see the uses of prepositions in the first one, prepositions of time. What are the prepositions of time? Any preposition which denotes the time of an action. Any preposition which denotes the time of an action is called prepositions of time. Look at this: at, on, before, after, since, for, from, to, till, by are called prepositions of time because they are denoting time of an action. For example, school starts at 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, indicating time. You must finish the work by Sunday. By Sunday, again denoting time. He takes tea in the morning. In the morning, again expressing the time. So when we talk about time, the first thing we should do is understanding the time. So let us understand the time well before learning some prepositions of time. So to understand the time properly, I have taken here, better I just go with smaller one. Right. So I'm going to just consider this as a day, and I'm going to classify this into 4 parts, and let's discuss and analyze the day. So let's consider this part as day, and then this part will become night. Why? Because this is 6 a.m. and this is 6 p.m. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. daylight, right? So that is day. Now, what is that called? 12 a.m. or p.m.? 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m. or p.m.? What do you call? Quick answer. What is it? 12 a.m. or p.m.? So what is that? 12 a.m. or p.m.? So if you know the top one, we can write the bottom easily. Quick. What do you call that? 12 a.m. or p.m.? Okay, Swapna already answered. What about the other guys? Sunny, Nirmal, Srinivas, Rao, please answer fast. Is it 12 a.m. or p.m.? So this is 12 p.m., not a.m. That is 12 p.m. After 11 a.m., it is 12 p.m., not a.m. And this is obviously 12 a.m. Now, another question, guys. 6 a.m. is called? Right or wrong, try to answer so that you can learn. So, what do we call 6 a.m.? 6 a.m. is called? Quick. What is 6 a.m. called? What do you call 6 a.m.? No one knows it? Morning. Okay, only 6 a.m. is morning, not 7, not 8, not 9. There is a word, we all know that. Quick. Think, quick. Alright, then let me tell you if you do not know. 6 a.m. is called sunrise. That's it. 6 a.m. is called sunrise. Oh, and 6 p.m. is called sunset. Or we can also call 6 a.m. as dawn and 6 p.m. dusk. So sunrise or dawn, sunset or dusk. Now what is 12 p.m. called? What is 12 p.m. called? Quick, what is 12 p.m. called? Quick guys. What do you call 12 p.m.? I'm not talking about the prepositions, I'm asking about the name we generally use. Like 6 a.m. is generally called sunrise or dawn, 6 p.m. is called sunset or dusk. In the same way, what do you call 12 p.m.? Quick. Good, good. So good, Sunny, good, Swapna. It is generally called midday or noon. You know, midday meals, right? Midday, or we can also call noon. Now, 12 a.m., you know this. 12 a.m. is called midnight. Right? There is another question for you now. What is morning? What is morning? Quick. What is morning? What is morning? Quick. What is morning? So I have given you a picture here. So sunrise, sunset, midday, midnight, or you can say dawn, dusk. Now what is morning? Quick. Anyone? What is morning? Up to 12 o'clock. Okay. From midnight? From 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. is morning. So if you know this one, you can understand and you can learn 30% of prepositions of time easily. 30% of prepositions of time. Good, Swapna. So morning is the time between 6 a.m. and 12 p.m. The time between 6 a.m. and 12 p.m. is called morning. So sunrise to noon, or you can say dawn to midday is called morning. Now what is afternoon? Afternoon, it is afternoon. So afternoon, it is afternoon. So afternoon is from 12 p.m. to generally 4 p.m. So afternoon is afternoon. That is 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. is called afternoon, generally speaking. And from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. again generally, because there is another way we can use. So 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Let us consider this as 4 p.m. So 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. is generally called evening, right? Now, if you make a call to any of your higher officials or your teachers or lecturers, whatever they are, at 7 p.m., what do you greet? Good night, sir. How are you? No, you will say good evening. What about 8 p.m.? You call some office to learn something, or you just call some, of your officials at 8 p.m. What do you greet? Good night, sir, or good night, ma'am? No. Again, good evening. That means, remember, when you are greeting someone to talk or to start a conversation after 4 p.m. also, it should be like after 6 p.m. also, it should be good evening only. So after 8 p.m., that is after 9, do not call. That is not official hours. So unless you have a prior appointment, you should never call any person after their office hours or after 8 p.m. in general. So do remember, so good evening is the starting of your conversation in the evening, or if it is evening, if you're ending, then you can say good evening. But do not start your conversation by saying good night after 6 p.m. So generally this is what's happening. So you will text someone good night, and by mistake, I mean it, if they text you back good night immediately, what do? Hey, hi, you're online. Had your dinner? What are you doing? Come on, that is not what you have to do. If you really want to start a conversation, start with good evening and end it with good night. Good night is the last wish of the day, last word you have to speak for the day, not starting with that good night. Do remember. So, good evening, you can use after 6 p.m. to start the conversation, or to greet someone, to end a conversation till the evening also you can use. But good night is the last wish for the day, the last word you must use. So keep that in mind. Now, having learned about the day, now quickly let me give you the prepositions which you must use. See, we use preposition at for sunrise, dawn, at sunrise, at dawn, at sunset, at dusk, at midday, at noon, at midnight, at night. See, we use preposition at before these words: sunrise, sunset, dawn, dusk, midday, midnight, noon, and also night. But only for the sessions of the day, only for the sessions of the day, like in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. Only for the sessions of the day we use in. For the rest we use at only, including clock timings at 6 a.m., at 7 a.m., at 10 o'clock, at 11 o'clock. Only for the sessions of the day we use in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. For the rest we have to use at only. I hope it is clear. Now let's see uses of prepositions of time. Now, let's see the first preposition, at. So, when do we use at? Just now we discussed preposition at is used before these all words. But only that's it? No. At is also used to indicate exact time and clock timings. You can also say clock timings. So, at is used before clock timings, like Raju goes to office at 9 a.m. Rachel meets her friend at 6 p.m. So at for clock timings. And at is used to refer to holiday periods. I'm not talking about holidays, I'm talking about holiday periods. So what is holiday period? Holiday period is not one day, some days, a group of days, a period. In fact, it's a not single day, a group of days, a period. So that period of time is what holiday period, where you are on holiday, right? So before the holiday periods, to indicate holiday periods, for example, my friend will visit me at Dashra, doesn't mean on Dashra. At Dashra means during those Dashra holidays. We visit our relatives at Christmas. It doesn't mean that on the day of Christmas. It means during Christmas holidays. So to indicate holiday period, we use at. And already we have discussed, at is also used before the words like night, midnight, noon, midday, sunrise, sunset, dawn, dusk, etc. Our watchman comes to work at night. Christmas is celebrated all over the world at night. He prays to God every day at sunrise and sunset. At sunrise, at sunset. So these three are the usages of preposition at. First usage, at is used to indicate clock timings. Second one refers holiday period. Third one, it is also used before the words like night, midday, midnight, noon, dawn, dusk, sunrise, sunset. So do remember the three usages of preposition at. Now, let's see the next one. Preposition in. When do we use preposition in? See, preposition in is used before months, years, seasons, and centuries. Preposition in is used before months, years, seasons, and centuries. For example, Mahatma Gandhi was born in the month of October. In October month. He was born in 1869 year. He was born in the 19th century. M.K. Gandhi was born in the 19th century. He was born in winter. October is generally a winter season. So before months, years, centuries and seasons. Now, already we have seen with the clock timings and other the figure we have discussed. So in is used before the sessions of the day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. He goes for a walk in the morning. He meets his friend in the evening. So we generally use in before the sessions of the day. So that is the difference between in and at. So at for clock timings, holiday periods, and before the words like night, midday, midnight, etc. we have discussed. In is used before seasons, centuries, months, years, and also the sessions of the day. Now try to fill this sentence. The party is dash night. Quick. Quick, guys. Good, Swapna. What about other guys? Okay, Sunny. Good. Other guys? Akash, Srinivas Rao. So it is at night because night. Now try to fill this sentence. So I have given you two blanks here. So fill both the blanks. Whatever you think is the correct one, you can fill. Okay, good. Sunny and Swapnam. Good. But what about the second blank? Our exams are conducted dash the morning dash Christmas. Okay. Okay. So guys, the first blank is correct in the morning, right? But here you should ask me what is the sense. In fact, you can take your sense and you answered at okay, at Christmas means you must understand holidays, right? So the exams are conducted during holidays? No. So it is not correct. So you must think according to the context. So it should be before Christmas would be appropriate. At is also okay as per our discussion so far, but appropriate one is before because we're talking about exams, not party or functions or no trips kind of thing. We are talking about exams and they cannot be conducted during holidays, right? So, yes, you're right. So, in the morning before Christmas. So, at you can use, but context matters, right? So I hope you got the correct uses of in and at. Now let's move on to the next preposition, that is on. When do we use on? There are two uses of preposition on. One, on is used before or with the days of dates and weeks. The names of dates and weeks. For example, Mr. Ramu will arrive on Saturday. He was born on 5th March 1985, something like that. The function is to be take place on Monday. So before the names of days and dates, before dates and the names of days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, these are the names of days and dates. Next, on is also used to denote exact time. You must be on time to class. The train came on time today. Surprising, right? So look at this. He came to class on time. The meeting commences at 8 a.m. on dot. It indicates exact time. On dot. 8 a.m. on dot. That means exactly 8 a.m. So on indicates exact time and use it before the names of days and dates. That is about preposition on. Now let's see the next preposition of time, during. What is during? During talks about the whole specified period of time. It doesn't mean at the beginning or in the middle or at the end of the particular time. During indicates the whole specified time. So, for example, during the World War II, when was World War II taken place? When was World War II took place? Anyone? Of course, this is a question which centers your GK, but I just wanted to know if you know that. So when was World War II took place? Is it 1 day, 1 week, 1 month? If anyone knows, World War II. Okay, Swapna, I asked about World War II, not one. World War II. Yes, Nirmal, you're correct. So, World War II, 1939 to 1945, right? That means 1939 to 1945. Is it 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, 6 years here? So during World War II means not just 1 day or not just the beginning, not in 1980, 1939, not in 1945. During means the whole specified duration. So during World War II, the price of gold was less. Now, no, it's very high. So we are talking about during World War II, at that period of time, the whole specified period of time. I hope you understood this. So during World War II means during the whole specified time, not at the beginning or in the middle or the end. So look at this. During my childhood, I could run very fast. Childhood means 1 day, 1 month, 1 year. No, that whole specified period of time. The supermarket is open during the day. That means the daytime, entire daytime. So do remember, during indicates the whole specified period of time, not just 1 day or one period or not just at the beginning or in the middle. So do remember this one. So that's about during. So we have discussed this so far, at, in, on, during. Now let's see the next preposition, by. When do we use by? By is used to indicate latest time or period of the action. The latest time or period of the action. So up to the before the action, the period, what we have mentioned. So it refers to the latest time or period. For example, I will return it by Sunday. Doesn't mean on that day. So before the days, the names of days we discussed, we have to use on. But why do we use by here? Because we are not talking about on that particular day. By Sunday, that means before Sunday, the latest time or period. My friend will be arriving by 3 o'clock, not at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock is a clock timing. Generally, we use at, but here we are not talking about at that time. We are talking about the latest time or period before the mentioned time, in fact. So by 3 o'clock, not at 3 o'clock, before 3 o'clock. So do remember, so by is used to refer to the action, that is the latest time, action that happened before the time mentioned, the latest time or period, that is preposition by. Do not get confused. So let me give some sentences and you try to fill them so that you'll have a clarity. So try to fill this, guys. There are 3 blanks here. I will give you my book dash 4 p.m. dash the evening. Only if you return it dash Saturday. Quick. There are 3 blanks here. I will give you my book dash 4 p.m. dash the evening. Only if you return it dash Saturday. Quick. First fill the first one, then we will see the next one. So Sapna, Akash and Sunny, okay. Akash said on, in, on. Okay. Swapna said by, in, on. Sunny at, in, by. So Sunny is correct. See, I will give you my book clock timings at 4 o'clock, in the evening sessions of the day, only if you return it by Saturday. I will give you my book at 4 p.m. Here it indicates clock timings. In the evening, talking about in the evening session of the day. Only if you return it by Saturday, latest time or period. So good, Sunny, and good try, Akash and Swapna, but try to understand. Check out this. And now look at the second sentence. Here we go. You should submit your application form dash Friday. Yes, I knew it. I submitted it dash Tuesday. So let's consider this as two conversation between two persons A and B. And now check out. Answer this second one, guys. Only two blanks. Give both at a time. So which blank I should consider if you give like that? So first try to give both at a time by just separating them with comma. What do you think is the first one? What do you think is the second one? Okay, Akash. No, Sunny, you're wrong with one. Swapna, no. You should submit your application form by Friday is the first one. Yes, I knew it. I submitted it on Tuesday. So Akash is correct. Yes, Swapna, you're also correct. First one is by, second one is on. So Sunny, so just check out on Tuesday by Friday. So by latest time of period, on exact date, name of the day. So on Tuesday. I hope it is clear, guys. We have discussed so far 5. Now let us see the next one, that is preposition till, until. Here is a question for you. What is the difference between till and until? When do we use till? When do we use until? Quick. When do we use till? When do we use until? Quick. Quick. When do we use till? When do we use until? If anyone knows, make it fast. Difference between till and until. Basically, there is no much difference. The difference, if there is any, is only this. That is, till is a less formal form of until. That means until is more formal. Until is more formal than till. And this is informal, or I can say less formal. So there is no much difference between till and until, to remember. Now when do we use them? So till or until is used to refer to up to the time or period which is mentioned. Till or until, up to the time or period which is mentioned. For example, wait here until I come back, up to the time. I will be in office till 6 p.m. up to the time. So till and until are used to refer to up to the time or period. I hope it is clear. Now let's move on to the next preposition, that is since. So before talking about this, let me talk about 3 prepositions at a time to give you clarity. One is since, the other one from, and the third for. So I'm talking about these three at a time so that you cannot have the confusion of the usage. So when do we use since? When do we use from? When do we use for? First, since. Since is used to indicate point of time. Yes, since is used to indicate point of time. From also point of time. For period of time. See, since is used for point of time, from is also used to indicate point of time, and for is used to indicate period of time. What is this point of time or period of time? Point of time means exact time. Exactly. Since 1999, since 1947, since morning, since exact time. Whereas for indicates only period of time. For 2 hours, for 5 years, for 70 years. So we talk about the period, not exact, but since and from indicates point, exact time. Then what is the difference between since and from? This is also exact, that is also exact. Then what is the difference? If you remember tenses and the forms of tenses, I talked about the 4 forms of tenses. What are the 4 forms of tenses? Simple tense or indefinite form, continuous form, perfect form, and perfect continuous form, right? And I divided these 4 into 2 types. Simple and continuous forms are called non-perfect tenses, whereas perfect and perfect continuous are called perfect tenses. I have divided the 4 forms of tenses into 2 types: simple form or indefinite form and continuous form. These 2 are called non-perfect tenses, whereas perfect and perfect continuous are called perfect tenses. Now, since is used with perfect tenses only, whereas from is used with non-perfect tenses only. That means only in indefinite and continuous tense, whereas for is used with both perfect as well as non-perfect tenses, right? Now, in addition to point of time, from is also used to indicate certain point of time to another point of time. That is the reason we use to. From Monday to Saturday. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we use to with from to indicate certain point of time to another point of time. Now, having learned the difference and the usage, now let's see some examples here. So let me give example for each of these so that you'll understand the difference. So let me take a simple example here. He has been working for TCS since 2012, something like that. He has been working for TCS since 2012. 2012 point of time. Has been working, perfect continuous. So we used since. Now let me give example for this. She is writing the notes from morning. She is writing the notes from morning. So here if you look at this sentence, is writing is continuous, non-perfect tenses. So from morning, and point of time to point of time, you can say we are working or we have classes from Monday to Saturday, point of time to point of time. Now let me talk about this to indicate period of time. I have waited for you for 2 hours. I have waited for you for 2 hours. For indicate period of time. 2 hours. Which 2 hours? From when? There is no particular time mentioned. No point. Only period. 2 hours is a period. Now have waited is perfect tense. Now let me give with non-perfect tense also. And another example with for. You are writing the notes for 2 hours. See here, are writing, you are writing, it is indefinite. So it is what? Continuous. It is non-perfect tense. Are writing. Perfect, non-perfect. In both the cases, we use for to indicate period of time, not point of time. So this is the difference among these three: since, from, for. So now let's see some more examples for each. Look at this. Since is used to denote the certain point of time, used only in perfect tenses. He has not seen her since 2009. Has not seen. Has plus V3. Perfect. I have been waiting since morning. So since morning. Point of time has been waiting. Perfect continuous. I have been reading this novel since last week or last month or last year. So point of time have been reading is perfect continuous tense, present perfect continuous. So that's about since. Now look at the next one, that is from. Expresses point of time. He is listening to the music from 10 a.m. He is writing the letter from morning, but non-perfect tenses. From also expresses certain time to certain time. For example, he is writing the novel from past 2 years to next 3 years. From to. We have workshop from Monday to Friday. From to. From particular point of time, there is certain point of time to another certain point of time. So these are for, since, and from. Now let's move on to the next one, for. Actually, I already told you, for refers to period of time, the time period, the period of time. It doesn't indicate exact time when it started, when it ended. It doesn't indicate. It always talk about the period. For example, he has not seen him for 2 years. Has not seen. Perfect. 2 years. They have been waiting for the bus for 3 hours. Have been waiting. Perfect continuous for the bus for 3 hours. So for 3 hours is period of time. They were in utter poverty for 3 years. So were indicate indefinite tense, non-perfect. 3 years. Period of time. Which 3 years? We are not sure. So that's about since, from, for. So these are prepositions of time. I hope it is clear, guys. So we have seen quite a number of prepositions of time. So reminding after, before you know when to use, how to use, you can use them. Now let's move on to the next one, prepositions of place. What are these prepositions of place? The prepositions which denote the place of an action. Time of an action, prepositions of time. Denotes place. You can also take position also. The prepositions which denote the place as well as the position of an action are prepositions of place. So the prepositions like in, at, beside, besides, between, among, above, below, under, over, etc. are called prepositions of place when they denote the place of an action. Look at these examples. I have a friend who lives in Kerala. Kerala is a place, the city. There is a tree beside the river, by the side of, indicating the position. He is sitting under a tree, under a tree. Again, the place and position. So the prepositions which indicate the place as well as position of an action, it talks about where something happens. It shows where something happens are prepositions of place. Just like prepositions of time, we have listed out some prepositions. Let's see the same way prepositions of place. But before that, have a clarity, guys. So on, in, at. So we use these as prepositions of time. But the same prepositions can also be used as prepositions of place. When they denote place, they are for prepositions of place. When they denote time, they become prepositions of time. So do not confuse, because one preposition can act in different situations. So we are taking the situation now, that is place. First, let us see the preposition at. When do we use preposition at? Preposition at is used to indicate exact place. It is used to indicate exact place. For example, Mr. Anil is at the railway station. Exactly where? At the railway station. Shweta is at the counter of Inox. Where? At the counter of Inox. It indicates exact place. I am at where? The board. Exact place. And it also used before villages, semi-towns, hamlets, geographical divisions within a city. For example, Mahatma Gandhi was born at Porbandar. Porbandar is a name of a village. He lives at Banjara Hills. Banjara Hills is a geographical division of a city, a part of a city. So anything which is a part of a city is a geographical division of that city. So remember to use at only. I repeat, at is used before villages, semi-towns, not completely village, not completely town, hamlets, small remote village, and geographical division within a city. The part of a city is a part of a city. So these four, and it is also used to indicate exact place. Where exactly? Where? At the board, at the counter, at the railway station. Exactly. So these are the uses of preposition at for place. Now let's see the second one, preposition in. When do we use preposition in? In is used to indicate something inside, something which is inside. For example, he is in the kitchen. That means inside the kitchen. The cow is in the field. Inside the field. So do remember, it shows something which is inside. Apart from that, in is also used before cities, states, countries, continents, and also towns. So N is used before big towns, cities, states, countries, and continents like this. Mr. Surya lives in Hyderabad. Hyderabad is the name of a city. He has a friend in America. America is a country. So use it before city and country. So that's about uses of in. I hope it is clear the difference between at and in. So let me make sure you understood. Hence, I'll give some sentences for you. Look at this one. He lives dash Delhi and works dash Connaught Place. Try to answer this. He lives dash Delhi and works dash Connaught Place. Quick. Quick, guys. First, try to answer the first one. He lives dash Delhi and works dash Connaught Place. Okay, Nirmal. Okay, Swapna, what about Sunny? Only one. Okay, you answered one there and here. Okay, good. So, Srinivas Rao, if you also participate, it would be better. So the answers for the first one is he lives in Delhi because Delhi is a city place and works at Connaught Place. So Connaught Place is a part of the city. It's a uh, part of the city. The places. It's a geographical division. So in and at are correct. Well done, guys. Now look at this one. I didn't complete the sentence yet. I'll be giving, but try to answer. M.K. Gandhi was born dash Porbandar, dash Gujarat, dash India, dash 1896, dash. I'll be trying to complete the sentence. You try to answer by thinking about those. Mm, so I have given you total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 blanks. So all 6 at a time try to answer. M.K. Gandhi was born dash Porbandar dash Gujarat dash India dash 1896 dash October dash Sunday. So Akash answered first 3. Okay, Swapna also answered first 3. So answer all 6 at a time. So take your time and answer all 6. Okay. What about Sunny? Sunny. So Akash has answered all 6 blanks. Okay, good. Swapna, your answer is only for 3, remaining 3. And what about Sunny? Right then, let me answer this. M.K. Gandhi was born at Porbandar, because Porbandar is a name of a village in Gujarat, is a state in India, country, in 1896 year, on October on 2nd, right? On 2nd October is also okay. I just made it like this. On October 2nd is also okay. So I have given you extra blank so that you can understand that. So it is name of the month. So before months, years, is it correct? On? No. So it is also should be in the month of October. So it should be in October on 2nd. So this is the correct one. So M.K. Gandhi was born at Porbandar in Gujarat in India in 1896 in October on 2nd. So that is the correct one. So who is correct? Obviously at, in, and in, on. So Nirmal, good job. You have done well. You are correct. So now I got the confirmation that you understood so far. So at, in, do not get confused for time as well as place. Now let's see the next one. Preposition beside and besides. I'm taking them as pairs because they are being confused. Beside means by the side of. Beside means by the side of. Besides means in addition to, extra, moreover, more. So do remember beside, besides, both are not same. You cannot interchange them. Beside is by the side of. Besides is in addition to, extra. For example, he sat beside his friend. By the side of his friend. The police station is located beside the court, by the side of the court. So it indicates by the side of, besides. Besides English, we are learning French also. So besides English, we are learning French also. Here besides means in addition to. She gave him clothes besides money. In addition to money, she gave him clothes. So beside, by the side of, besides, in addition to, moreover, extra. Now look at the next one. Between, among. Again another confusing pair. Between is used when we talk about two persons or things. Among is used when we talk about more than two persons or things. Yes. So show position. Between shows position in two persons or things. For example, this should be between you and me. This should be between you and me. So talking about the position between two. No one can stand between Sanjay and Sumit. Two. Now among. Discuss it among yourselves. That means there are more than two persons are here. Sorry, there is a French woman among the survivors. There is a French woman among the survivors. That means there are more than two survivors. In them, one is French woman. So it talks about more than two. It talks about only two. Between and among. Now look at the next one. The next pair here is under, below. Before talking about this, let me give a clarity here. You should understand the clear sense of usage. Above, below, over, under. Above, below, over, under. So above, over, they indicate something top in position. Below, under indicate something lower in position, down in position. Now what is the difference in the usage? So I've taken these four so that you'll have a clarity. So that clarity, let me talk in this three ways. Position, covering, motion. Position, covering, motion. So what are these and how to use them? Means above, below. Above indicates up in position. Below indicates down in position. Okay, indicating position. Over, up in position. Under, down in position. So all follow this one. That means the usage. All they denote position. Now covering. Above. Does it indicate any covering? No. The clouds are above the sky. That doesn't mean that they are covering the sky. Right? It doesn't show covering. There's a kite above the house. It doesn't mean again covering the house. There is a kite above the house. That's it. There is no covering. Below. There is, or you can say, the stores below the downtown. The stores below the downtown is closed. So, is it covering? No. Again, no covering here. Now, over and under. Like the cloth is over the table. The cloth is over the table. I'm not talking about the cloth on the table. I said the cloth is over the table. So, in the sense here, so there is a table here. Assume this as table. I said the cloth is over the table. That means a cloth is covering the table. The cloth is covering the table. That means we covered the table with a cloth. That means here we indicate covering. Yes. Under. There is a cat under the chair. The cat is under the chair. That means the chair is covering the cat. That means here both over and under denotes covering. Right? Now, motion. Above and below do not indicate any motion or movement. Whereas on the other hand, over and under denote motion. Look, the birds are flying over the lake. Flying over the lake. That means there is a motion. The water is flowing under the bridge. Flowing under the bridge. There is motion, movement. So generally speaking, these are the usages of above, below, over, under. So above, below indicates only position, whereas over and under indicate position, covering and motion. So I hope this will give you a clarity, clear picture about the uses. However, we'll see individual uses in depth, but this is just to give you a clear picture before we actually see its usage. Now let's move on to the usage. The first one is under. As I told you, under is used in the opposite meaning of on, that is down in position, or vertically below. For example, my friend is sitting under the tree, vertically below. He is sitting under the roof, down in position. Here we indicate position, but also the cat is under the table, covering. The water is flowing under the bridge, motion. Also the two other usages. Next, below is used only to indicate position with the meaning of lower than something else. So it is used in the meaning of lower than. For example, the valley is below the hill, lower than the hill. Doesn't mean that the hill is covering. Tirupati is below Tirumala, lower. It doesn't mean that there is a covering. It indicates only position. There is no covering. So under, below. Now let us see above and over. Above and over we are going to learn together because the words above and over act as adverbs, prepositions and adjectives. Yes. Above and over can act as adverbs, adjectives, and prepositions. But remember, there is no overlap in the meaning when they are used as adjectives. That means there is no much change, there is no difference when they are used as adjectives. So there is difference when they are used as adverbs and prepositions. So what are those differences? Let us see one by one. I'm giving you here 6 usages for above and over, where above is used, where over is used. So that's what we are going to see. First, look at the first one. In most common sense, the adverb over implies movement from one location to another or one position to another. That means over indicates motion, movement. For example, they climbed over the fence. They climbed over the fence. Movement is there or not? Exactly, movement is there. He leaned over to see what I had written. See, in class, when students cannot see because of the other students, what they do? They lean over, right? So there is change in position. Next, I knocked over a glass of water. I knocked over a glass of water. I made it to slip. The baby is learning to roll over. See, babies generally crawl and then roll over. So there is change in position and location. She moved over to make room for them. Move over. There is change in location as well as position. Would you come over here for a minute? Come over. That means you have to leave the place to come here. That means again there is change in location. So first thing, above is not for motion. Only over is used for motion. I hope it is clear. Now let's see the second usage. The second usage states that in the sense of adverb, first one we have seen over as adverb. Second one, in the sense of adverb, above implies only location but no movement. There is no motion. For example, look at these examples. We lay on our backs and looked at the clouds above. We laid on our backs and looked at the clouds above. I didn't mean that they are passing or they're moving above. Only position. There is no motion. Some children are fascinated by the moon and the stars above. Again, we are talking about stars and the moons above. There is no movement. The maze looks like person's face when viewed from above. When viewed from above, the maze looks like a person's face. I hope you know the difference between M-A-Z-E and M-A-I-Z-E. If you not, let me know. I will tell you. But if you know, that's good. Now, you can write to us at the address shown above. So again, address shown above the top in the position. So this is the usage of above to indicate only location but no change in movement. There is no change in position. That means there is no movement or motion. Now look at the next one, third usage. See, as prepositions, so far we have seen them as adverbs. Now as prepositions, both over and above can mean at or to a place that is higher than someone or something. Both means at or a place that is something higher than someone or something. But again, over is somewhat more common. When we are talking about especially vertical things, over is more common than above. For example, a light hangs over or above the table. It's better to use over the table, not above. He raised his arms over or above his head. He raised his hands over, not above. Above is also okay, but not that appropriate like over. So over is good. She rents an apartment. Generally people use above, but over, according to the sense, is something most common. It's more common, somewhat more common and more appropriate than above. So she rents an apartment over a bookstore. So this is our third one. Now let's move on to the fourth usage. Both can also mean more than something. First one, movement, location, change in position, over. Only location, no change in movement or position, above. Third one, something which is higher than the other, both are okay, but or is most common saying. And now we are saying more than something. Now, which will be better? You can answer. The movie is suitable for children dash 13 years old. So what do you think? Over or above? Answer. Which one is better? Which one is appropriate in the context? Quick. The movie is suitable for children dash 13 years old. Over or above? What do you think is more appropriate? Quick, guys. Answer fast. Is it over or above? Okay, Sunny says above. Good. What about other guys? See, the most appropriate, in fact, more appropriate one is about 13 years old. We do not use over 13 years old. More than something, about 13 years old. Now, look at this one. We have been having temperatures dash 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, choose one, above or over? Quick. We have been having temperatures dash 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Quick, is it above or over? Over or above? Swapna, Akash, where are you guys? So Sunny answered over. Okay. What about other guys? So again, here above is more appropriate. So already we are given some figure here. So above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That means what do you understand? When the meaning is more than something, above is more appropriate, but not always. For example, I value time dash money. It is not above money, it is over money. I value time over money. That means in both the sense, more than something, we can use both either above or over. But when to use what? Means above is used when we are giving some particular figure here, right? And over is used when we are talking about some other thing, noun without any particular figure. So in that case, both are okay. So good, Sunny and Nirmal about this one. And now let's move on to the next one, the next usage. So both as prepositions again can also mean more loudly than the clearly, more loudly and clearly than some other sound. And although again over is more common. Again over is more common. I could barely hear the music over the noise of the crowd, not above the noise. You cannot say above the noise. It's over the noise of the crowd. We are giving the sense of something more loudly and clearly. I couldn't hear you over this loud music. So over this loud music, something is more louder and clearer than other. So again, more loudly and clearly, over is more appropriate. And not just this, in many cases, or is more appropriate than above. For example, look at these examples. I have been waiting for dash an hour. Over or above? We'd use over an hour, not above an hour. Over 50 people attended, not above 50 people. It should be over 50 people. So these are the 6 usages of over and above. Remember, they can act as prepositions, adverbs, and adjectives. As adjectives, there is no overlap in the meaning. Hence, we have discussed prepositions and adverbial usage. So that's about over and above and the prepositions of place. So we have so far discussed prepositions of time and prepositions of place only. Now let's see the next one, prepositions of agency and instrumentality. So what is meant by agent? What is meant by instrument? What is an agent? Agency is nothing but denoting agent, and instrumentality is nothing but an instrument. So what are these prepositions of agent and instrument? Here the agent in the sense is a person. Person is an agent, nothing more than that. Instrument in the sense tool. Agent means person, instrument means tool. Now for agent, to indicate agent, we use preposition by. We use preposition by. To indicate instrument, that is tool, we use preposition with. That means preposition by and preposition with are used as prepositions of agency and instrumentality to show the action done by and done with. So by is for persons, with is for instruments, other tools. Now look at these examples. The apple is cut by Rama. Here by, person. The apple is cut with a knife. It's a tool. By, person, with knife. The field was plowed by, see here, by a farmer. The field was plowed with a tractor. So remember, by, person, with agent or instrument. So that's about prepositions of agency and instrumentality. Only 2 prepositions are there, you can easily remember. So if the action is done and we are denoting the person who does an action, we use preposition by. If the action is done and we are denoting the instrument used for an action, we use with. So that's about prepositions of agents and instrumentality. Now let's see the next one, prepositions of manner. Again, the same prepositions by and with are also used to indicate prepositions of manner to denote how something has taken place or how something is done. For example, look at these examples. The soldiers having no food are dying by inches. The soldiers having no food are dying by inches. Inches means not inch by inch. It means slowly deteriorating. How? By inches. It indicates the manner of an action. How? It answers the question, how? Now look at this. My friend won the election with ease. How? With ease, with comfort. Ramu, do it with care. Handle it with care. Handle it with care. How? With care. So the both prepositions by and with are also used as prepositions of manner to indicate how an action is taking place. To indicate who done the action? By, agency. What is the thing? Instrument used for action? With. But again, by and with are also used to indicate manner of an action. So that's about prepositions of manner. Now let's move on to the next one, that is prepositions indicating cause and reason. Can you tell me the difference between cause and reason? What do you think is cause? What do you think is reason? The next one we are going to discuss prepositions of cause, reason and purpose. But I want you to tell me what is the difference between cause and reason. Purpose is however different, I'll be telling you. But what is the difference between cause and reason? What is cause? What is reason? Quick. If you know, please let me know. What do you know? The difference between cause and reason. Quick guys, what do you think cause is and what do you think reason? When you said, I'm late because I missed my bus. So are you talking about the cause or are you giving the reason? Quick. Alright, as there is no answer, let me tell you. Cause generally indicate the effect. Yes. Cause produces an effect. It denotes an effect. Cause generally indicate or produces an effect. So a cause produces an effect, whereas a reason supports a decision or an opinion. Reason supports a decision or an opinion. The effect. The reason indicates, supports the effect, whereas cause produces effect. Cause causes effect, that is produces effect. Now, as we learned cause and reason, now let us see purpose. What is purpose? Purpose answer the question why. Why an action is done? Why an action is taken place? For example, look at this. Ramoji Film City is very famous. Why? For picnic. So, far, off, from, through, with. So, these prepositions are known as prepositions of cause, reason, and purpose. Alexander the Great died of malaria. He is suffering from fever. My friend lost his job through negligence. She is shivering with cold breeze. Far, off, from, through, with. All these are the prepositions which act as prepositions of cause, reason, and purpose. I hope it is clear. Try to understand. Cause produces effect. Cause leads to effect. Whereas reason is something you are giving to support the decision or opinion or the effect of something. So that is the difference between cause and effect. Now let's move on to the next one. Prepositions of direction. So what are the prepositions we generally use to indicate direction? Along, across, to, towards. That's it. So the prepositions to, towards, into, at, for, against, of, from, along, across, etc. are used as prepositions of direction to show us where something is going. They indicate the direction of an action as well as where something is going. For example, he walked along the road. Along. She is going to the market. They are going towards the vegetable market. The boys jumped into the well. They threw eggs at him in the direction. He is leaving for Delhi. He is going against the directions, opposite the directions. Now, I know there are some prepositions which are confusing you. Let me talk about those prepositions to denote direction well. So these are along, across. Along, across. What is the difference between along and across? Let me consider it as a road. So let us talk about these two prepositions by considering this picture as a road. Now, when I said he is walking along the road, what do you understand by that? He's walking along the road. That means which direction? Is walking along the road. So what's the direction you mean? He's walking along the road. So what do you understand here? He is walking along the road. So what did you understand by the sentence is walking along the road? So if you look at this one, when I said he's walking along the road, so what did you understand? Walking along the road means in the same direction. In the same direction. It doesn't mean in a straight line. In the same direction. Walking along the road. In the same direction. Now, when I said he's walking across the road, what did you understand? Walking across the road. That means from one end to the other end. Across. From one end to the other end. Do you remember? Simply speaking, you cross the road by walking across it. You cross the road by walking across it. So when you're talking about along, it means that you're going in the same way, in a straight way. Straight in the sense again, not the straight. In the same way how it is leading. So that is the difference between along and across. So you cannot say she swam along the river. She swam along the river. No need to swim along the river. The river itself takes you with the current. So it is inappropriate to use along the river. It should be she swam across the river from one side to the other side. That is the possibility. Along, not required. The engineers constructed the bridge across the river, not along the river. Along is of no use. It should be across the river. So do remember the difference between along and across. I hope it is clear. Now let us see the another pair, that is to versus towards. To versus toward, or toward or towards. So what is to, what is towards? So let me take another scenario to help you understand this. Let us think we are in city A, whatever the city you are living in, whatever the place you are living in, whatever the state. So take two cities in your state. City A, city B. There are two cities here in a single state, city A, city B. Now, you wanted to go to city B from city A. You want to go to city B from city A. And there are different ways of going to city A, city B from city A. So let us consider two ways as of now. So that is one way, this is another way. So this way connects another city in between. So this way connects another city in between. Let me call that as city C and this one city D. That is city C, here city D. So what is your destination? Your destination is city A to city B. You would like to travel from city A to city B. That's it. But to travel from city A to city B, you have two different ways. One, that way, city C way, two, city D way. Now, where are you going? To city B. So, he is traveling to city B. So, it is his destination. His destination is city B. But he is traveling towards city D. That means is city D his destination? No, he is traveling towards city D. That means city D is not destination. That is the way he has taken. You can call it via. Buses, you see, via this way, via that way. And if you want to go to Mumbai or Delhi, you take a Rajdhani Express. It will not go in one way. It have different ways from different cities. So that is towards. Your destination is not D. Your destination is B, but you're traveling in that way. So towards indicate the way. To indicate exact place. I hope it is clear. To, towards, along, across. If you have any questions regarding any prepositions or the difference, do let me know through your comment so that I will be discussing that now. So let me know. I hope it is clear to you the difference between along, across, to, towards. So that's about prepositions of direction. It talks about the direction from where something is going to where something is going, how something is going. So now let's move on to the next one. Prepositions of source and origin. What is source? What is origin? What is the difference between them? Source is something where the availability of something is in abundance. Availability of something in abundance is source. Origin is the initiation, the starting point, the birth point is origin. Source, the availability of something in abundance. Origin is the starting point, the birth point of something. Now, from is the only preposition which indicate both source as well as origin. For example, I received information from Ravi. Ravi is my source or origin? I received information from Ravi. Ravi is my not origin. Source of information. We have information from the ancient civilization. It is not the beginning. It is a source, not origin. Cheating one another started from the World War II. This is origin. So the same preposition from is used to indicate source as well as origin. Source is availability of something in abundance. Origin is something which starts or where it starts. So that's the difference between source and origin, and from is a preposition which use for source and origin. Now, moving on to the next one, prepositions indicating possession. In nouns we have denoted and we use some prepositions, one preposition in fact to indicate possession when we cannot give possession for non-living beings. You cannot say the table's leg is broken. There we used the leg of the table, right? You remember that. So of is one of the prepositions which denote possession. And in addition to of, with or with is also used. So of and with are the prepositions which denote possession, ownership. For example, Mr. Bill Gates is a man of great wealth. That means he has great wealth. She looks beautiful with her curly hair. That means she has curly hair. So Taj Mahal is a beautiful monument of the Mughals period. It belongs to possession. It belongs to Mughals period. So preposition of and with are the prepositions which denote possession. That is ownership. So that's about prepositions of possession. So guys, so those are the usages of prepositions. We have seen different usages with different prepositions, starting with preposition time, prepositions of place, prepositions of agents and instrumentality, manner, source, origin, cause, reason, purpose, direction, possession, etc. Right? Now, the important thing I'm giving you is must followed prepositions. So did you remember what is preposition, by the way? So what is a preposition? A word which is placed before a noun or a pronoun to show relationship between noun and a noun, verb and a noun, and adjective and a noun. So preposition shows a relationship between a noun and a noun, verb and a noun, adjective and a noun. That means they always comes before noun, but some nouns always follow particular prepositions. Some verbs always followed by particular prepositions also only. Some adjectives take particular prepositions only. If you know that list, it will become very easy for you in your examinations to choose in the fillets, fill in the blanks or close test, or to correct the sentences in the form of error detection or sentence improvements, and also to can make your writing very grammatical and logical. So I'm going to give the list of prepositions or list of nouns which follow particular preposition, list of verbs which follow particular preposition, and the same way list of adjectives which are followed by particular preposition. So let's begin with the first one, nouns. So I'm giving you the list of nouns followed by particular prepositions. So first let's begin with with. There are some nouns which are followed by with only, always. So what are those? Look at this one. Enmity with, relations with, bargain with, acquaintance with, alliance with, comparison with, confound with, intimacy with. For example, enmity with. India has enmity with Pakistan. Relations with. Every country should maintain good relations with neighboring countries. Bargain with. Do not bargain with the street vendors, etc. So try to make examples by using these so that you can remember them well. So these nouns are followed by with only, always. It is always with only, right? Now let's move on to the next one. Nouns following preposition for. Yes, these list of nouns always followed by preposition for. They are ambition for, affection for, ancient for, apology for, appetite for, aptitude for, blame for, candidate for, craving for, compassion for, capacity for, desire for, esteem for, guarantee for, surety for, fitness for, pity for, match for, reputation for. So these nouns always followed by for only. For example, you should have a great ambition for your life. So do not blame him for that mistake. I cannot give you guarantee for this. So do not have much affection for worldly things. Like that, you can make some examples. So again, I'm telling you, you can remember them only through examples. So guys, take one, write example. Take the second one, frame an example. Only that way you could able to remember well. Now, the second one, first with, second for. Now let's see the next one, preposition of. These list of nouns are followed by preposition of. They are experience of, charge of, result of, distress of, assurance of, failure of, proof of, want of. Do you have any experience of this post before? experience of. He is charged of murder or whatever it is. So this is a proof of your negligence. So this is a result of your negligence or whatever you wanted to take, you can use. So like that, make examples. Now let's move on to the fourth one, that is preposition to. These list of nouns are followed by preposition to. They are attention to, attachment to, approach to, access to, dislike to, disgrace to, obedience to, supplement to, encouragement to, indifference to, invitation to, objection to, key to, temptation to, reference to, submission to, opposition to, and concession to. Now, let's see some examples. Pay attention to what I say in the class. Attention to. Do not have much attachment to the worldly things. Attachment to. Try to know how to approach to the officials. So, like that, you can make some examples. Access to, dislike to, etc. Now, the nouns which are followed by preposition from. Descent from, exemption from, abstinence from, deliverance from, escape from, relief from. He descent from, or he is a descent from a royal family. No one has exemption from this rule. He has abstinence from drinking alcohol. So like that, you can frame some examples. Now, that's about nouns. We have seen 5: with, from, of, for, and to. Now let's see the next one, adjectives. Now let's begin the first one. Adjectives followed by preposition with. So there are some list of adjectives which are always followed by with. They are busy with, satisfied with, fed up with, consistent with, conversant with, popular with, competed with, intimate with. I'm busy with my work now. Do not disturb me. Are you satisfied with that? I'm fed up with your excuses. No, no more excuses. So like that, you can make some examples. That's about preposition with. Now let's see the next one, adjectives followed by preposition to. There are many adjectives which are followed by preposition to. Let's see what are those. They are agreeable to, accessible to, acceptable to, adequate to, affectionate to, applicable to, loyal to, partial to, beneficial to, common to, comparable to, contrary to, credible to, due to, equal to, obedient to, essential to, faithful to, indifferent to, indispensable to, indulgent to, relevant to, opposite to, and profitable to. So these are the adjectives which are followed by preposition to. Is it agreeable to everyone? Agreeable to. It's beneficial to all the citizens. Beneficial to. It is essential to living. Essential to. It is accessible to all the students. To. It is common to everyone. To. Faithful to. So try to make examples again. So these list of adjectives are followed by preposition to. Now look at the next one. Adjectives followed by preposition of. So these list of adjectives are followed by preposition of. They are afraid of, confident of, guilty of, conscious of, fond of, greedy of, hopeful of, proud of, sure of, sick of, tolerant of, worthy of, ignorant of, regardless of, devoid of, subversive of, heedless of, lavish of, void of, covetous of, and vain of. She's vain of her looks. So are you afraid of snakes? Are you confident of getting PO job? He is guilty of murder, something like that. Do remember, guilty of, fond of, conscious of, greedy of. They're always followed by of only. Now, let's move on to the next one. Preposition from. I have taken two words, two adjectives which are followed by from. They are free from, safe from. He is free from all his burdens. Good. He is safe from the kidnappers. Good. So here, free from, safe from. These are the two adjectives followed by from. Next one, adjectives followed by for. So these list of adjectives are always followed by for. They are Eligible for, famous for, ready for, responsible for, anxious for, good for, known for, sorry for, useful for, pity for, notorious for, jealous for, sufficient for, customary for. Are you eligible to take this examination? Hyderabad is famous for the Charminar. Are you ready for a test? You're responsible for your actions, etc. Are some examples you can make from this. Now it's time for verbs. So we have seen the nouns and adjectives which are followed by particular prepositions. Now let us see the list of verbs which are followed by particular prepositions. Now let's begin. The first one is with. These verbs are followed by preposition with. They are correspond with, fill with, bear with, disagree with, quarrel with, side with, charge with, agree with, clash with, converse with, witness with, stay with, share with. Do you agree with me for the need for change? Agree with. Please fill this application form with blue ink ball pen. Fill with. Do bear with me for a few more minutes. So these list of verbs are followed by preposition with. Next one, preposition to. So these list of verbs are followed by preposition to only, always. So let's have a look at them. Apology to, aspire to, attend to, prefer to, refer to, lead to, yield to, conform to, belong to, listen to, contribute to, allow to, pretend to, testify to, object to, pray to, submit to, surrender to, obedient to, loyal to, faithful to, grateful to, obligate to, indebted to. So these are the list of verbs which are followed by preposition to. They are: he apologizes to her. Apologizes to. You must aspire to reaching great heights in your life. Attend to classes regularly. I prefer red to blue. Prefer to. We already discussed in adjectives, right? And here as a verb, it takes to. So these are the list of verbs which are followed by preposition to. Now let's move on to the next one, preposition from. These list of verbs are always followed by preposition from. They are abstain from, debar from, deviate from, differentiate from, recover from, elicit from, escape from, prohibit from, protect from, speak from, differ from, emerge from. He abstained from drinking alcohol. Abstinence as a noun, abstain as a verb, always followed by from. He is debarred from the examination center. Do not deviate from the topic. Can you differentiate this one from that one? So these are the list of verbs which are followed by from. Now let's move on to the next one, preposition for. These list of verbs are always followed by preposition for. They are care for, start for, earn for, feel from, aspire for, send for, hope for, wish for, mount for, converse for, speak for, weep for, sue for, clamors for, pine for, stipulate for, atone for, pray for. Do care for your parents. He's starting for Delhi. That means he's leaving this place to go to Delhi. He has much earning for his parents. Feel for something. He's feeling for his mistakes. Something like that. You can make some examples by using these words. Now, let's move on to the next word. Preposition of. These list of verbs are followed by preposition of. They are beware of, boast of, die of, dream of, consist of, accuse of, convict of, acquit of, guilty of. So these list of verbs always followed by of. Beware of the dogs, reads a signboard. He always boasts of his own achievements. So Alexander the Great died of malaria. So like that, you can make some examples. And moving on to the next one. These list of verbs are always followed by preposition in. They are believe in, involve in, rush in, fail in, perseverance in, delight in, enlist in, persist in, indulge in, excel in. Excel in what you aim for. He excelled in his studies. Believe in yourself first. Do not involve in gossips. So like that, you can make some examples. So these are the list of words, the list of nouns, adjectives, and verbs which are followed by particular prepositions only. I hope it is clear, and guys, believe me, these are very helpful. They are highly useful for your examinations. Hence, all you have to do is frame examples and try to analyze the sentence while you're reading newspapers and other things, because some list of verbs are followed by those prepositions, some list of nouns are followed by those, some adjectives are followed by those only. Can you tell me he is suffering with the fever? No, because suffer always followed by from only. Suffering from fever. So if you know that this is followed by this only, definitely you can choose correctly. So that's the list. But guys, agree with, agree to. Agree with, agree to. Agree to, agree with. Which one is correct? Both are correct. Then when to use what? Do you agree with me? Do you agree to my proposal? See, both are correct. Agree with the person, agree to things are proposals. That means there are some list of words which are followed by more than one preposition. So let's learn them also so that you can know when to use which preposition. Agree with, agree to. As I told you, with, person, to, thing, or some proposals. So before moving on to that, words taking more than one preposition, let me know if you have any questions or doubts. If you do not have, let's move on to that one. Quick. Any questions or doubts so far? All right, it seems there are no. Then let's move on to the words taking more than one prepositions. Now, look at the first one. The first word here we have is accompany. Accompany is followed by and with. Accompanied by living being, accompanied with subtle things. By persons, with things. For example, I was accompanied by my friends. His lecture was accompanied with subtle analysis of concepts, things, by persons, with things. Now, moving on to the next one. Accountable is also followed by to. Accountable to, accountable for. You're accountable to a person or authority. You're accountable for your actions or things, the deeds. For example, all of us are accountable to God. Accountable to. You're accountable for your actions and deeds. So, accountable to persons or authorities, accountable for actions or things. Now, moving on to the next one, angry. This is the most wrongly used. It's most mistakenly wrongly used one. Angry takes three prepositions here. Angry at, angry with, angry for. You're angry at things, not angry at persons. You're angry with the persons, angry at things, angry for a cause. Do you understand the difference? Angry at things with the persons for cause. For example, he is angry at your behavior. Things. I'm angry with him. Person. The boss is angry with him. Person. For his remark. Cause. I hope it is clear. Angry takes is followed by three prepositions. At things, with persons, for cause. Now let's move on to the next one. annoy. Annoy with, annoy at. Annoy with the person, annoy at things. I was annoyed by my friend. Annoyed with my friend, not by. So people generally use by my friend. Guys, remember it is not. It is with my friend. So I'm annoyed with my friend. She's annoyed with him at his laziness. With person at things. But don't use by. It's not by, annoyed with. With the person at things. Moving on to the next one. Arrive. Arrive is followed by two prepositions, arrived in, arrived at. Arrived at is for small places like exact place we have discussed at and in, and arrive in is for big place. For example, he arrived in India. He arrived in India country. The train arrives at the platform. Arrives at the platform. Arrives at small place, exact place, in big place, the countries and all. Moving on to the next one. Blind. Blind of, blind to. Blind is followed by two, blind of and blind to. Blind of is physical blindness. Blind to is mental blindness. What is this mental blindness? Let's see some examples so that you can understand. He is blind of one eye. That means he has some physical blindness. These days, parents are blind to their children's faults. So in our childhood, parents are not used to be like that. They used to beat or scold. But nowadays, even though they are doing mistake, they are blind of, like mental blindness, overlooking the things. That is what mental blindness means. Now, moving on to the next one. Compete is followed by two prepositions. One, compete with. Two, compete for. You're competing with a person, competing for a thing. For example, I competed with my friend, with the person. We competed for a prize thing. You all are writing competitive examinations by competing with other students for the government job. See, compete with persons for things. Now, moving on to the next one. Compare. So, compare also take two prepositions. They are compare with, compare to. So, we compare with. Compare with is used to show dissimilarities between two, whereas compare to is used to show similarities. So, compare to, use to show similarities. Compare with, use it to show dissimilarities. For example, parents always compare the children's marks with other marks. So, here dissimilarities. Shakespeare is compared to Kalidas, indicating similarity. On same lines, compare to. On different lines, compare with. I hope it is clear. Now, moving on to the next one, die. This is also often used inappropriately, but look at this. Die is followed by two prepositions, die of, die from. Die of disease, die from cause. And people often use die in, it is informal. It is not the correct one. It's better to use kill in. Died in an accident? No, it is informal. So it's better to use killed in an accident. So I'm talking about only two. Die of disease, die from cause. For example, he died of cholera disease. She died from overwork, some cause. So do remember, guys, die of disease, die from some cause. Next one, familiar. Familiar takes two prepositions, familiar with, familiar to. You're familiar with a person, you're familiar to things or places, some subject. For example, I am familiar with him. That means I know him. I am familiar to Spanish language, the thing. I'm familiar with Spanish language is wrong because Spanish language is not a person. With the person to thing. Hola, ¿cómo estás? So I'm familiar to Spanish language. So with the person to subject or a thing. Here I'm talking about that. Moving on to the next one, live. Live is followed by two prepositions. Live on, live by. Live on is used to indicate existence, to exist. Live by is used to talk about dependence, to depend on or to believe in. For example, man lives on food and water, existence. A terrorist lives by violence. He believes in violence. It depends on violence. So that's the difference between live on, live by. It takes two prepositions, on and by. Moving on to the next one, responsible. Just like accountable, responsible also take to and for. Responsible to person or authority, responsible for things or actions. For example, I'm responsible to the boss, responsible to person. She is responsible for her actions, just like accountable as I told you. So that's about responsible. Moving on to the next one, taste. So taste is followed by two prepositions, taste of, taste for. So taste of indicate experience, whereas taste for indicate interest. I'm not talking about tasting, I'm talking about taste of experience, taste for interest. For example, he will have a taste of new technology now. He brought a new mobile. Suppose he brought iPhone 11. So now when he uses iPhone 11, so far he's using Android, now we will have a taste of new technology, experience of. And I have no taste for singing, no interest. So you can also say, rather than saying interest, just go with this and improve your language. I have no taste for singing. I have no taste for writing. I have no taste for boxing or whatever. So just go with this, taste for interest, taste of experience. Now, tired. Tired of mentally, tired with physically. So generally say, I'm tired today, I'm tired of. So tired of what? Mental tiredness. I'm tired of his excuses mentally. I'm tired with working for 8 hours. Continuously, I'm working for 8 hours, and that gave me physical tiredness. Mental tiredness of, physical tiredness with. So that's about tired, followed by two, tired of and tired with. Now, application. So before we move on to application, let me know if you have any questions regarding these. So far we have discussed what is preposition, place of preposition, position of preposition, and where to put and why to use preposition, and also uses of preposition, types of prepositions, and we have seen must follow prepositions, words with more than one prepositions. And then let's move on to application. So before moving on to application, let me know if you have any questions. If you have no questions, do let me know by typing no questions, so that we'll move forward further for application. Quick. Well, I didn't receive any comments. Then let's move on to the next one. Application. So let's see the first sentence in application. I'm starting this application from the lower level to the highest level. That means from easiest to the toughest. Now let's begin the first sentence. Bente lives at Canada. Answer this. What is the correct one? Bente lives at Canada. Quick. Bente lives at Canada. What do you think is the correct one? What is the error in the sentence and what is the correct part? Anyone quick? Good, Sunny. It is in Canada. Why? Canada is a country. So we have discussed that preposition in is used before cities, big towns, countries, states, and continents. Hence, in Canada is the correct one. Good job, Sunny. Now look at the next sentence. Radhika was born on 1987. Quick. So try to answer this one. Radhika was born on 1987. Quick, guys. 1987. So 1987 is a year. So which preposition do we use before years, seasons, months, and centuries? So again, it is preposition in. Radhika was born in 1987. Before it is for place and this is for time. Now let's see the next sentence. Of late, I have done a project in Amirpet in Hyderabad. Of late, I have done a project in Amirpet in Hyderabad. So what is the error and what is the correction? Quick. Of late, I have done a project in Amirpet in Hyderabad. What is the correction? What's the error? Yes, guys. Application is your part, not my part. You should answer. Sunny, okay. Sunny, I don't know where you're from which state you are actually, but you think it different way. You know, Hyderabad is a city, right? So before cities, in is correct only, no? Amirpet is a geographical division of Hyderabad. Amirpet is in Hyderabad, right? It's a geographical division. So it is inappropriate to use in before Amirpet. It should be at Amirpet in Hyderabad. I hope it is clear. Of late, that means recently, I have done a project at Amirpet in Hyderabad. At is the geographical division, whereas in here it denotes city. So do remember the difference here. So at Amirpet in Hyderabad. I hope it is clear, guys. So do go through once again this today's session so that you can have the application well. So we'll continue this application part in our next session. So for that, all you have to do is go through all what we have discussed so that you could able to answer well. So try to revise and come for the next session. If you have doubts till this, you can ask me. If you have any doubts so far, whatever we have discussed in prepositions, you can pose a question, I can answer. If you do not have doubts also, please let me know by typing no doubt so that I can understand. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to stop here the application part because you require revision. Please go through and we'll continue it in our next session. But for that, please revise and come. Application part is what you're going to apply in your exams. So do remember that. So any questions or any doubts, let me know, please. Comment down. Quick. If you do not have any doubts also, please do comment no doubts. Okay, Sunny, no doubts. That's fine. Good. So that's about our today's session, guys. I hope you learned more about prepositions. For the next session, as we are going to continue, if you have any questions, please go through. And if for any questions, you can ask me in the next session also for prepositions.